What's going on, guys? It's Justin here with Summit Racing, and we have our friend Ian here today, and we're working on something a little bit different in the studio. Instead of a 66 Corvette or say an LS engine, we're gonna be building a simulator from GTR. So what's up, Ian? How are you today?
Doing well, Justin.
So you're kind of our resident expert on these simulators. Tell us a little bit about how you got into it and what you enjoy about it.
Sure. About 10 years ago, I was on a professional race team, and our drivers actually used simulators. That's the cool thing about sim racing. You can actually go and drive on track with these people virtually, which is really cool. So the drivers, they use these as a tool, and I started getting into it and wanted to build my own. So I built one and I started racing with them.
That is super awesome, and I'm super excited to get ours together and try this thing out. Now, are there any tips or anything you have for someone that's just getting into this?
Sure. With sim racing, there's a whole, it's just like building a car. You can put as little or as much money as you want into it. But if you don't ever buy the car, you're never going to get to build it. So don't get scared when you go to build a simulator. Start with what you can afford. Get yourself a console or a PC or however you want a game. Get yourself a wheel set that's within your price range, and then do upgrades as you go along.
So this, in an essence, is kind of like building a real car. It's modular, it's upgradable. You can go from mild to wild, which is super cool. And like you said, this might be a little bit intimidating, but you guys don't have to fear, because we're going to show you how to put this thing together step by step with just a couple of hand tools. So enough talking about this thing. Let's get to putting it together.
Sounds good.
So we're going to start off by putting the base together, and to do that we need to slide these two square tubes in each side and then put these side plates on. So I'm not sure how, I believe this goes forward, so we're going to want this one on this side. If I'm
you got it. Yep.
And then we'll slide our tube in there. It's like putting together some Lincoln logs.
One cool thing about these side plates, Justin, you'll see a lot of different slots, and that'll actually let you decide what height you want your seat at. So if you sit in a car that's lower and you're trying to simulate your actual race car, maybe you have something small, S2000 Miata, something very low to the ground, you can have your seat lower so you're more level with your pedals, or you can raise your seat higher if you have maybe a old classic car that you want to simulate with your rig, which is pretty cool that they give you that adjustability.
That is super cool. So this is, they try to make it real as possible, which I appreciate. The other side together. Thank you.
Yep. Let me know if you want me to hold something there.
It's like a big old jigsaw puzzle. We'll get it eventually. Now, when you put your first simulator together, how long did it take you?
I'd say it took roughly 2 to 3 hours. I bought the GTR Pro that we're building today, and then I also bought the GTR seat that came with it. It came in 2 separate packages, and I'd say a lot of the time was spent actually unboxing it. They really robustly packaged this when they sent it to the house, which was really nice, because a lot of heavy materials.
So we got this thing all together, so we can set it on the ground here. And let's see what's next. I actually think it's these brackets here are what we're going to put on next.
Yep.
Those go forward that way. So
yes. So what we're looking at here, the seat is actually going to mount here, and what's really nice about what they've done is these are standard sizes. So this would be similar to what's in your car. So if you want to add something like a seat slider to this, you can do that. You can mount that here. I have that on my rig. I believe we're just going to be bolting the seat directly to this today, but you can do either. And Summit sells a seat slider that I used, but GTR also has one that matches their rig as well. And then on the inside, we have a bracket here, and this is actually your accessories would slide into here. So if you want to have an external H-pattern shifter, you can have a mount that slides into here that'll hold your shifter to the side, and you'll notice the other side as well has the same tube, and here you could have another accessory such as a keyboard and mouse holder that GTR sells as well for these.
That is a super neat deal how they have it's upgradable like a real car. So you can go from mild to wild.
You'll notice as you put it together, there's a lot of adjustability. Not only could you raise your seat up or down, you can actually slide it within these slots as well.
And we really like all that finite adjustment, so you can get this thing exactly how you want it.
Yeah, and you'll notice further along in the build, we'll be adding some knobs that come with it that'll actually let the whole rig expand, contract, to be the length that you want as well if you opt not to have the seat sliders. And there's actually adjustability as well with the mount that we'll be putting our steering wheel on.
And that's kind of cool too, is you can make it longer or shorter depending on how big, if you're trying to set it up like a real car, like how big the cockpit is, how cramped you're gonna be. Like, are you Sunday driving, or are you in a race car?
Right. And if you're like me, your kids will also want to try to sit in and drive. And obviously they need the seat a lot closer, so having that adjustability there
That's
too
perfect.
is nice.
So the whole family can participate.
Exactly.
So now that our base is assembled, we can put these joint looking things over here. I don't know, it kind of looks like an elbow. I don't know what you'd call it.
One really nice thing that they do with these simulators, Justin, when they send them to you, they have a lot of the bolts already in the equipment that you're going to be installing, which is it's a nice little feature. So you don't have all these bags of tools.
And different size bolts that you're trying to figure out where they're going.
Exactly.
So I like that. That's great for people like me.
So that'll slide onto here. And this is going to be the base for our pedals.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. We'll slide this thing together.
And what you're sliding together now is one of the major adjustment points. So in the end, we'll be adding knobs to the outside of this plate so you can move your pedals to and from your seat.
That is super slick.
On my rig at home, I have this straight up here, but you can adjust it to an angle. And the angle you'd be adjusting to is what angle you want your wheel at. It can be difficult, or it's a little bit of work to remove these screws to adjust it on the fly. You kind of have to plan to adjust your rig. But what's nice about that is how much force these things take. It doesn't move around when you're playing, and that's what's really important. I did notice after I had put mine together, if anything feels loose when you're sitting down or you hear any metal moving, it's not an imperfection of the sim. You have a bolt loose. So I went around and tightened everything once again after putting it all together, and then it was very solid.
So we got these in. Now it's time to slip our mounts in. And these are really cool because like I said, I like this whole deal because it's all modular and it all kind of slips together. And just like similar to before, we're just gonna go ahead and take these couple baby screws out.
Thank you. You'll notice a lot of robust pieces on this rig. This is GTR's highest model that we sell. Personally, on my rig, I have a direct drive wheel, which is a lot stronger than some of the belt-driven wheels, so I wanted a rig that could support that. But if you aren't going to go that extreme with your steering wheel, GTR does offer some models with less bells and whistles on them, a little less robust, and they take up less space too, which is also nice if that's a consideration that you have when building your rig. There's actually some wheels that you can buy that will have like a safety key you have to put in to turn them on, because they could break your wrist if you held on, just like in a real car.
That is insane. I'm all about that. That is what's truly cool about this, is it's about as close as you can get to driving a real race car without driving a real race car.
Yeah.
And you can do it right from the comfort of your living room, which is cool. I think the next thing that needs to go together is the overplate here. So I think, yeah. Yep, and that nice, pretty GTR logo. Go ahead and...
Yeah, you have to take the bolts out if you didn't already.
Yep, I yanked mine out.
All right, I still need to do that.
Baby Allen wrench.
Thank you. Yeah, they did a nice job with the branding on this.
They make sure you know who makes it.
It's kind of a centerpiece in my basement. It always turns heads when people walk down it and see it.
Oh, it's way cooler than a pool table.
Yeah.
And one thing I did notice is like I said, it's constructed well. Like the welds are nice, the powder coat's nice. Like they've really gone all out. So go ahead and we'll throw this top plate on there.
So the reason they went with 2 plates on the top is because there's another adjustability point here that you're gonna see. You'll be able to move the wheel towards you and away from you with this second plate that you would attach your wheel to.
So with our plate here mounted, now we can go ahead and slide these bars in. And these are actually kind of what our steering mount's gonna attach to. So these are adjustable as well, which is cool.
When you adjust these, you'll be bringing the steering wheel closer or further away from you.
Now it is possible to put this thing on backwards, but when you guys install this, you're gonna see you have these kind of 4 holes on this side. You're gonna wanna install that towards the seat.
If you're wondering why there's so many holes there, a lot of the base plates on the bottom of different manufacturers' wheels have different holes to screw it down to your sim for.
And that is nice that they make it kind of modular to where necessarily if you don't have their steering wheel, you can still use it.
So what are we putting on now, Justin?
These are the pedal mounts, I believe, or where your pedal box is gonna go. So, and these kind of just bolt through.
You'll notice with the pedal mounts as well, again, a lot of holes in the plate that you mount your pedals to because there are various pedal manufacturers, GTR being one of them, and their pedals will match nicely with their mount. And then there's also going to be adjustability to tilt them as well that you'll see.
Yeah, I think so. Next goes on our nice little diamond plate cover here.
Something kind of nice about these rigs, and it might not come to mind early on, but once you set up a sim rig, you can actually do more than just sim racing on them. There's a lot of other simulations, flight simulators. Maybe you want to drive an RV rig or a big 18-wheeler. There's a whole bunch of different games if you're not just into racing, which is pretty cool.
Oh, you could even play. I didn't think about playing Farm Simulator on one of these.
There you go.
Now it's time for a little bit of bling.
Yeah, you got to slide underneath first the other way. You got it. Just put the back end down first.
Okay.
Yep. This whole thing slides if you hold that.
Aha! See, we talked all about that adjustability. So kind of like you guys saw earlier, not only is this rig adjustable in length, but pedal position is adjustable too. So next we're gonna go ahead and install our pedal sliders.
This is a pretty nice feature I don't usually see on rigs that GTR took into consideration. And once it's fixed, it's pretty sturdy.
So with that on, next our pedal plate.
So this is actually going to come in 2 pieces. There's going to be a bottom piece that'll mount to your slider. And then we're also going to have a top piece that your pedals mount to. What's nice about this piece, again, multiple holes, so it'll take various different pedal sets. And as well, there's actually this bar in the back, and you can see on the plate, there's multiple positions. So you can raise or lower the angle to match the vehicle you're driving in your sim. So Justin, I've seen you do a lot of cool stuff with our Project Jeep and adding a lot of parts. How does this compare, building one of these to working on the real vehicles?
I mean, we're bolting parts together, so it's super similar. I don't know, this is just different. I like working on all sorts of different stuff, and I can't wait to drive it to see how it drives compared to a real vehicle. If you guys just want to look how we got this on, we went ahead and got a couple bolts started on here, and then we used the pedal adjustment to slide this back and forth to get to where we could put these bolts in and get them tight. So this actually has a lot of adjustment. So we stuck it all the way out here, fed our bolt in, and then got them tight. So after this is done, next our pedal plate goes on.
We're going to attach this now so you can see how it goes together. But it is very likely that you'll have to take this back off to mount your pedals once you're setting up your rig. But fortunately, it's just 2 screws, and this thing will flip all the way over, so you may be able to work with it, or you can take it off if you'd like, either way. Yep.
That's cool how that works. You just kind of set it to wherever you want it. That's super sweet.
The last piece that comes with this sim rig is actually a place to mount your shifter if you have the optional H-pattern shifter. What's really cool about this piece is they actually make it very modular as well, like everything else on the rig. So you could have it on the left-hand side if you're driving cars overseas, or you can have it on the right-hand side if you're in the US. You can also adjust the height on this and left to right as well. So you can actually go out in your own car, measure where your shifter is, and make it match on your sim rig, which is really cool.
So yeah, you can make this. That's like one of the things I'm fascinated about with this is how you can make this so close to your actual race car. So you could go out and buy the same seat your car has, you know, same steering wheel, a similar shifter, measure it all, get it all, you know, about the same. And so it's basically like you're driving your own race car, and you can do it any day of the year.
And now that we have this mounted, if you don't want to use an H-padder, you can also put hydraulic brakes here if you're into drifting. That's very popular within that scene, so they'll mount hydraulic handbrakes to this. And then you also have, like I said, you can mount it on the left-hand side. Well, if you're gonna have this on the right, they also sell accessories that allow you to mount keyboard and mice accessories over here that swivel in and let you use your computer when you're not racing, swivel out of the way when you are.
Now, as you can see, we got the base and the bones of our simulator together, and this is all that came in our one kit. Now, we're gonna go ahead and leave a couple parts off it as we install more, like our seat and our monitor kit. And you guys will see as we put that stuff on, we have some cool adjustable knobs that go in place to a couple of these bolts, so you can move this thing around and get it how you just want it. Now, this is not only available in black, but it's also available in white and silver to match the decor of your house or maybe your race car. So now that we got this all together, let's start putting some more parts on it. So now we're gonna go ahead and get our seat bolted on.
So this is the GTR seat that we sell on Summit, and I have this same one. And this also comes in multiple colorways as well. I believe there are red, blue, and white. And there's a lot of SKUs that GTR has that we have on our site. Right now for this application, Justin, you're hard mounting it to the base.
Yep.
Which is how it comes, but you can actually buy sliders. GTR sells sliders for their seats that you can attach to the rig to allow your seat to slide back and forth if you'd like to. But with all the adjustments on here, it's not necessary to do that, but it does add some ease of use if you have different size people using the simulator often.
So now that we got our seat base bolted down, we're gonna go ahead and throw our brackets on. And these are cool because it's gonna make the back of the chair adjustable. So it's not fixed. You can get in real comfortable in this for long hours of simulator racing.
And just like real racing, you'll find yourself, if you wanna do an endurance race, you can do 24-hour races with a bunch of buddies.
So with those assembled and all tight, we can go ahead and throw our seat back on. Look at that. So now we're gonna start assembling one of our optional accessories for our GT simulator, and that's the triple monitor mount. Now, it is important to note if you're gonna use a game console with this, you only can use a single monitor. But if you set it up with a PC tower or using a PC, you can go ahead and get up to 3 screens, which is super cool. So let's go ahead and get all this thrown together. Start with these first.
They do provide these caps on the end that we pulled off in case you're not going to be doing a monitor mount.
Get that slid in. And go ahead and slide this top piece in.
The mount already attached to this looks like it will fit most standard TV sizes for bracket, and also monitor sizes as well.
Yeah, that is the cool part is, no matter what monitor or television you buy for this, it's, you have optional mounting patterns. So they cover kind of everybody. Now let's go ahead and get our TV outriggers thrown on. And these are adjustable as well, depending on what size monitors you're using. There's your side.
Thank you.
That's also a cool feature, is that they make these brackets to where no matter what monitor size you have, you can adjust it to whatever your monitors are.
This is my first time building the monitor mount. I actually use VR headset when I do my sim racing. So I only have what you saw us build previously, but triple mounts are very popular, or triple monitors are very popular in the sim racing community though. So this is a nice addition for this rig.
So now that we have our monitor mounts installed, we're ready to start installing some real fun stuff like our pedal set and our steering wheel. So let's jump into that. So since the steering wheel doesn't come with the actual simulator itself, you're going to need to source your own hardware to mount the steering wheel. Now a trick thing would be to go down to your local hardware store and get some matching socket head bolts so all the hardware looks the same. But we went ahead and grabbed some hardware out of our toolbox hardware drawer, and now we're going to get this bolted together.
So Justin, this is the GTR RS30 wheel. And a couple nice things I'm seeing about it already just looking at it. It has a detachable steering wheel, which is really nice for getting in and out of your rig. Once you start adding accessories, if you have a keyboard and mouse over here and a shifter over on the other side, getting in and out can start getting a little complicated. So it's nice that they add that ability. The other thing I'm noticing just looking, they make a nice mounting fixture for it. On the back, it's got a switch for either 900 degrees or 270 degrees. So based on what type of your car you're driving, if you're in a street car or an Indy car or an open wheel car, you might want to change that setting.
So now that we have our steering wheel all bolted down, now it's time to install the steering wheel. And this is super cool because the steering wheel is splined, so it'll only go on one way. Go ahead, we'll look at it. We have our spline here and here, line those up. And to take this on and off, you simply just spin this collar here until it's snug. And you're ready to go racing. So our steering wheel is all installed. Now it's time to install our pedal set. So let's grab that, throw it here on the base.
As I was describing before, you can tilt it up to get the bolts in. And if that doesn't work, you can just remove this plate, bolt it on, and then screw the plate back in.
So you want to go ahead and hold this up for me,
Yep.
Ian, so I can get a couple bolts installed. Just gonna...
Couple things that I notice about these pedals, not too surprisingly, adjustable, so you can actually raise and lower the base plate where your heels would rest when you're not on the pedals, which is pretty cool. It looks like the springs on the throttle and brake are adjustable, so you can actually add compression to it. And they did the diamond plate that matches your rig already too, which is a nice additional touch.
So the last thing we're going to go ahead and install are these adjustment knobs. Now these are going to be way easier to adjust the length of your base or the height of your steering wheel versus using your trusty little Allen wrench and taking them out. So we're going to put one on each side and then one in each mount on this side. Now before we test this thing out, we got to sit in it and make sure it feels right.
Oh no.
Oh, that's so much better. Look at that, guys.
You want to raise this up?
Oh yeah, how do we?
So
Oh, yeah.
loosen that knob.
That's not
See where it's comfortable.
Oh, my knees don't hit then, so we're good. Let's try that. It does need cup holders.
So we're mounting a monitor right now that you would use on your desktop. There's some benefits to using a desktop gaming monitor. They usually have higher refresh rates, but what you lose is size. So if you want to go up to a 55, 65 inch TV, you can do that. You'll just have a lower refresh rate when you're playing your games.
And then since we're only going to be using a single monitor for right now because we're going to be hooking ours to a console, we're going to go ahead and pull our outriggers off for our other 2 monitor mounts and store these away just in case we ever switch to PC. So there you guys have it. We got this thing all assembled and tested, and I can tell you firsthand that I'm in love with it, and I'll be getting one for my house. Now, if you have limited space, you can totally fit one of these things too. We went ahead and measured it, and it takes up, what, about 2 feet by 4 feet? You can put this thing in the corner of your living room out of the way when you're not using it, and then drag it right into the middle of the floor when you are. Now, after putting this together, I totally think anybody can do this in their living room with just a couple Allen wrenches. It looks intimidating when you have all the parts laid out there, but it fits all together pretty well. Until next time, we're gonna do a little bit of racing, but make sure to like and subscribe to the Summit Racing YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of the action. I'm Justin with Summit Racing. Thanks again for coming and hanging out with us today, Ian, and
Absolutely.
showing us the world of racing sims, and we'll catch you guys next time.